Should you buy a car under your company name? Because I heard that if you actually buy it under your personal name and use it for business, that it could end up being cheaper for you. Now, the question is, have you actually run the numbers to find out whether that's truly cheaper or not? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode at Novarise Invest, your channel for financial education. So today's video is actually a follow-up to this episode right here, and also a follow-up to this episode right here. And it was meant to demystify some of the comments that I've been hearing and some of the comments that I've been reading down in the comment section below, where people have asked whether buying a car under your personal name can actually help you save some money and the long run. And so what I decided to do is to run a fun exercise to prove you in numbers that that's not necessarily the case. So let's get started. Before we start, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications button. All right, so for those who are brand new to the channel, welcome. And for those who have been following me for quite some time, you probably remember learning about smart expenses, right? So what do they mean, right? So a smart expenses means it's a type of expense that will allow you to spend money and buy an asset for your business, but at the same time could allow you to deduct money from your taxes, so that way it will lower your taxable income, right? So one smart expense that we decided to invest in, it's in a Tesla. That is our company car. That's Novarise company car. And for those who watched the episode and participating in the voting, thank you very much. We have decided to name the car by popular demand Spartacus. That was the name that was chosen by the majority of you, right? So Spartacus was brought in to the team as our chief marketing officer. And the goal was to have Spartacus help us promote our company 100% of the time. Every single time we took Spartacus out for a spin, he's supposed to be working for us 100%. That's a dream team member right there, right? So in that video, we talked about the use of a QR code, and that QR code, whenever people will see it, and if they're interested in learning in real estate, they will scan that code, whether it's in English or in Spanish. And by scanning that code, they will come to visit us in our YouTube channel. So some of you actually asked me down in the comment section below whether the QR code was effective for our marketing campaign. So I actually have the numbers right here to share with you in case you're interested. So on our English channel, and that's Novarise Invest, we got a total of 56 scans. And in our Latino channel, for those who are following us in Spanish, we have a total of 73 scans. Now, depending on where you stand, you might find these numbers to be somewhat low, but in my opinion, they're just about right, because we live in New York City, so we barely have to drive. And I love to walk. Anthony and I love to walk. So there has been very few cases where we really need to pull the car out to run errands or to just simply go out and I don't know, do our thing out in the city and stuff. But for the most part, I will run my errands by foot. I like to walk, and especially when you're working from home. Novarise is a digital company, so there's no need to commute anywhere. All of our team members work directly from home, and so I've had the need to build out some steps into my daily routine, because I spend most of my days seated. So on the few times that we took the car out, we've gotten some scans over the span of a year, and I find these numbers to be very reasonable. So I think the numbers are actually very fair. Now, depending on your nature of business, whether you live in an area where you need to drive your car quite often or not, or maybe you're in a business where you really have to use your car all the time, 24/7, that's when you're going to see the most scans on the QR code. But bottom line, it is very effective, and the most beautiful part of it is that Spartacus is working for us 100% of the time. Now, I want to move along and actually do a comparison, right, of the benefits that you get from either purchasing the car under your personal name or under the name of your company, right? So in the episode that you actually see on the screen, we talked about having to create a lock to know the percentage of times that you're using your personal car for business, because when you buy a car under your name, the IRS views it as if you're having a car with a mixed use. So you can use a spreadsheet, a journal, an application, but you have to maintain a locked. And so what it does is that once you maintain a lock, at the end of the year, you are going to see how much percentage wise you use a car. So when you're buying a car under your company name, that means you're using it 100% of the time for business. Everything you do with it, especially if you have a QR code attached to it, that means it's used for business 100%. But when it comes to personal, hey, it's a personal car at the end of the day. It's under your name. So you're going to have to be able to show evidence, receipts, any kind of log to show, hey, this is the percentage that I've been using my car for business. So when it happens, your deductions, assuming you buy a car under your personal name, are going to be limited. So you're only going to get a partial deduction, as opposed to when you're buying a car under your company, you're getting a deduction 100% of the time, right? But that doesn't end there. That's just on the numerical side. There's something that could have taken my sleep away if I would have bought the car on the more personal name, and that's in terms of liability, right? Because when you're buying a vehicle under your name and you're using that vehicle for business use, let's assume you get into an accident, something unwanted winds up happening and you end up hurting someone and you get sued, right? And sadly, the liability is going to fall back on you as an individual, you as a person. So you're personally liable for the damages that you're creating to someone else. So whether you have a house, whether you have other businesses under your name, you're risking everything that's under your name. But if you have your company set up the right way, right? That's very important. It's not just any company. You have to have the legal entity set up and everything with it. You have to work with the experts to have everything set up. Once you have everything set up properly and you buy the car under your company name, you are limiting that liability down to your company. So let's say, for example, company one, it's your company right now, and that's the one where you're buying the car in, and you have other assets over here. This could be a house, this could be another house, there could be another business, yada yada, right? So if that car is under just this one entity, in the event of a liability, that doesn't mean it's going to protect you from getting sued at all. However, if you do get sued, the liability is going to get limited to just this one company. And you're not risking all these other ones right here because you're keeping everything separate. But when you have everything under your name, you'll have your business, you'll have your house, your second house, whatever other business that you have, and you're risking everything because you keep everything under your name. Okay, so that's something that I want you to keep in mind. Now, next, we're moving on to the fun part. But before we do that, if you're enjoying this episode, do not forget to hit the like button right here so you can help this episode rank and help others like you looking for information of this kind. Let's just talk about numbers, right? Because like I said, I've heard many comments and I've also read some comments in our YouTube channel that people have highlighted that if you purchase a car under your personal name, you might wind up saving more money on the insurance. So we're here to do this exercise to show you that that might not necessarily be the case, right? So let's just talk about our expenses, right? So we have our MAR expenses right here. Those are the ones that you're going to deduct in your company. We also have the amount. And over here, we're talking, let's say, assuming you buy it under your personal name. And over here, assuming you buy it under your company. So once again, deductions under the company are 100%. And in this case, on the personal side, it will depend highly on how much you have used the vehicle for business purposes. So for simplicity, we're just going to go with 60%. So let's say throughout the year and according to your log, you use 60%. 60% is not the magical number. It could be, in your case, 30, it could be 40, it could be 80, but we're going to use 60 just for the sake of it, right? So what are some of the expenses? So in New York City, we have parking and tolls, because if you want to get somewhere faster, you have to pay the toll. And if you want to get there faster without getting your car towed, you have to pay for private parking in the city. So that came out to be $2,173.70 for us. And because we have a company car, that means we get to deduct the amount to its fullest, 70%. But if we were to purchase this car under a personal name, now our deductions would have gotten limited to 60%, which brings down that amount to $1,304.22. Okay, so that's how much we're allowed to deduct if we were to buy a car under the personal name. Now, moving along to the expenses, we also have maintenance plus charging, because it's an electric car. So we have to charge Spartacus. He doesn't take any gas. The total cost of that category came out to be $771.96. So once again, over here, full deduction. And then over here, limited to 60%, which turns out to be $463.18. Then we have the depreciation. And this time we were able to take advantage of the bonus depreciation, and that added up to $1,800, $2,000, 100% deductible over here under the company. But if I would have purchased the car under my name, it would have been limited to $10,920. Now, the interest of the car, of the loan, came out to be $1,630.18, 100% deductible over here, right? And 60% deductible over here. And that's coming out to be $978.11. And this is the part that got me, right? That gets everyone. So car insurance. Because we bought the car under a company name, we had a higher premium. And that came out to be at $7,107, right? Which is, once again, 100% deductible under a company. However, if you were to buy the car under your personal name, the premium would be cheaper. That is true. There's no two ways about it. And it would probably come up, because we already did a research based on our profile and stuff like that, it would have probably come up to be $4,707, right? But remember, that's not the amount you will deduct. You can only deduct 60% of it. And that's coming out to be $2,824.20. So you're actually reducing your deduction, meaning you're discounting less from your taxes. Uncle Sam is giving you a less deduction because of that. And then the last expense that we have here is permanent parking, because you live in the city, and unless you want to drive around for an hour to look for street parking, you pay for private parking. And in our case, it came out to be $2,750. Once again, 100% deductible. And I sound like a broken record at this point. But if you're using it at your personal, you can only take $1,650 as a deduction. So in total, all of these numbers are adding up to be $32,632.84. And because we bought the car under our company name, that's the amount we get to deduct, the full-blown $32,638.84. But for those who decided to go on the personal name route, the total amount of expenses that you can deduct from your taxes, it's only $18,139.71. And now I want to be clear, okay? I understand that regardless of whether you're buying the car under your personal name or under the company name, the money's still coming out of your pocket. It is your money. I get that. However, it is your decision to choose whether you get to deduct that amount coming out of your pocket from your taxes. When you're buying under your personal name, you're limited on the amount that you can deduct from your taxes. But when you buy it solely under your company, you get to deduct 100% of it, especially if you have a QR code and your car is working for you 100% of the time. Because even when you drive it out there to do some personal errands, the car, it is still working for you because it's promoting your brand. So that means the car is still working. It's still having a business use, right? So taking it down one notch, I wanted to compare the insurance premium. So over here, we talked about the premium for commercial insurance to be at $71.07. So we have $71.07 over here. And then if you were to buy the car under your personal name, the premium would have come out to be $47.07. So when you deduct these two numbers from one another, you wind up with a saving of $2,400 a year. I give you that. It's $2,400. However, you get bigger savings if you would have bought the car under the company name because the amount of deductions is higher. In fact, the differences between the two numbers, if we were to take 32,632 minus 18,139.71, I'm talking about a difference of $14,000 for 92.29 cents. That's how much you're leaving on the table. That's how much Uncle Sam is not going to deduct from your taxes. That's how much you paid out of pocket that you will never see again. And to me, this number, it's a lot bigger than this one right here. Besides, I don't think I want to sacrifice my time keeping up logs, keeping out mileages and receipts, especially if I'm on the run trying to make a living or make my time's worth over $2,400. And I know $2,400 is a lot more, but as you can see here, it did not give me the maximum amount of deduction possible. So I still ended up paying that money and I wasn't able to get my maximum deduction out of that amount. So definitely for thoughts for those out there who are still considering buying a car on the personal name. Now, I know you're all very smart people, and I know you're all looking for ways to maximize your money. And I could foresee some of you saying, well, I can still buy the car under my personal name right here and do the QR code thing. And that way have my car be working for me 100% of the time. Yes, you can definitely do that, right? That way your car will be working for you 100% of the time. However, there's this part called the liability portion or the liability component of it that to me, there's no savings that is going to be worth my mental peace to just simply get rid of just to pocket a couple of extra $100 a month. When you factor in the liability, when you factor in the time, how much time it consumes you to having to keep a log and the mileage and all of that stuff, that ends up adding up a lot more. And to me, that's not worth it. I much rather take that extra time that I have and invest it in the things that bring me joy. Could be the expansion of my real estate portfolio or creating more content like this. And why not spending quality time with my loved ones? So now, I'm actually curious to find out, did you learn something new? Was I able to help you open up your eyes to see that there was a major difference between the two? Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. And while I still have you here, I want to invite you to check this episode on the side that's going to help you complement everything you just learned today. Take care. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.